This is a WCBA.TV production. What the mind can conceive, the heart believe, you can achieve. This is Colonel Oscar Poole speaking, and today I'm coming to you from Jackson, Georgia, about 60 miles south of Atlanta, where I am attending the Indian Springs Camp Meeting. Every year at this time, for the past since 1890, this place has been activated by great preaching, oratory, family fellowship, and here I am down here again for the third year in a row. I was here in 1975. That's 35 years ago. And so today I want to talk to you about two big fancy words. And can you believe how the inspiration came? First of all, I'm down here as a guest of Paul and Elsa Davis and Bob and Ann Leftwich. I met Mike Atkins, conference evangelist for the Methodist Church, United Methodist Church. This institution, Indian Springs Camp Meeting, for 120 years, has been an historic meeting place for evangelicals and the Wesleyan interpretation of entire sanctification. Now I came, that's John, when I say Wesleyan, that's John Wesley. He was the author of, they say sanctification or Christian perfection. He was a theologian of 200 years ago or more. He's the man, for whom the Methodist Church was named. And I came out of the Nazarene movement. The Nazarene movement was sort of a reactionary movement to what they thought was the liberalism of the Methodists. Now, that's been 100 years ago, over 100 years ago. And I went to the camp meeting at the Swanee River Nazarene camp meeting in White Springs, Florida, for when I was 10 years old. Now that is 70 years ago. I arrived there with Earl and Elizabeth Benham, who were the district superintendent of the Nazarene of Florida, of the entire state of Florida, 1940 Plymouth, I think. And they took me up there, and I got out there in those woods, and I said, what in the world have I come to? I was only 10 years old. This God-forsaken place. Well, it was not a God-forsaken place. I am privileged to announce that I am a product of the camp meeting movement in America. And I came out of that. And I appreciate, while they were great preaching up there, oratory, yay, I wasn't listening to them. I was listening to God inside me. I was having a great time within myself of not only worship, but talking to God. Now, their theology then, I didn't care about, didn't know about, didn't want to know about. But I didn't worry about theology. I wasn't worried about anything. At a tender age of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years of age, I was discussing meeting with God. We had our own thing going back there on the sawdust floor under an old-fashioned tabernacle. Now, many of you can relate to what I'm saying. Now, they're still around. Indian Springs is still around. So we've come down here for 3 years in a row, and 35 years ago I came down the first time, at which time I led in prayer. I was visiting a pastor over from Thomaston. Mr. Bennett, I think, brought me over here. I was seated there in the tabernacle. Very cool place. It's hot down here, but I was right underneath a big air condition, and it was cool, nice and cool. I sat there, and I recall those days at the old Swanee River Nazarene camp meeting. Very much alike. Here at the Indian Springs camp meeting, I came alive again. I thought and I thought. I could feel my bare feet in the sawdust floors. Now, they don't have sawdust floors here now. They're more modern. But I was thinking within myself of my heritage. I was trying to place the dots or connect the dots back then and here. And I thought about two words that I discovered back there at Asbury Theological Seminary in Wilmore, Kentucky. I'm a product of that school. I have an MRE degree from there, if you want to know about that. I was a Stetson graduate from Florida. Then I got the MRE degree at Asbury, then went on later to a Baptist school, which illustrates what I'm about to say. I recall the very first day that I saw the word eclectic. I think it's spelled E-C-L-E-C-T-I-C. Eclectic, which comes from the word ecclesia, or the church, or the called out ones. You know, in the Greek city-states of over there in Greece, Paul borrowed that word, the ecclesia, for the church. And I think you only find Jesus mention the church maybe once or twice, and Paul many times, but that doesn't matter. I found out that day what eclectic means. E-C-L-E-C-T-I-C. Eclectic. I thought, it dawned on me. The light turned on inside me. Eclectic means to borrow or receive truth from many sources. I was at the age of 23, I guess, maybe even the fall of 52 when I was 22 years of age. Eclectic. And then along with that word, I discovered the word anthropomorphism. Let me repeat that long word. Anthropomorphism, which means man forms. We attribute to God man forms, or terms we're used to in the human race. We put it on God, the face of God, the hand of God, things like that. I never will forget that day. My mind went back, that's 50 years or 60 years, there at Asbury Seminary in Wilmore, Kentucky, as I pondered the meaning of these words. And I began a discovery. That's who and what I am. I, Oscar Poole. Well, I did belong to Nazarenes and Baptists and Methodists and Church of God and Pentecostal. And Unity. I've been a participant of those fellowships. And yet, my theology has not been the same as any of those I just mentioned. And down here at Indian Springs, I don't share the same theology now that they espouse, or those folks back there at White Springs. What I've changed, as I indicated on one of the programs on this website. Change has been about the only constant in my life. Eclectic. I borrow truth wherever it's found. See, eclectic is related to the word truth. Now, truth means that which is constant, that which does not move. And there are many truths that don't move. Of course, there's temporary truth and permanent truth, as illustrated by the Apostle Paul in Corinthians about women speaking in church. He just told women to shut up. If you want to know anything in church, wait till you get home and ask your own husband. That's in there. Well, was that true? Well, that was true for them, but it's not true for us. Not around where I live. Truth is that which is constant. And we need some constants. that which changes not. Well, that's God. Now God says, behold, I don't change. I change not. God is a constant. Now our perceptions of God certainly change. Our experiences with God certainly change and mature as we progress in receiving progressive revelation, new truth, revealed. There are many things I believe today I didn't believe 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. Have I changed? Have I changed? Had you told me I'd arrived where I am now 10 or 20 years ago, I would have laughed you to scorn. But I have changed. I am an eclectic. I got that word when I was 22 or 23 years of age, and now I'm at the older, ripe age of 80. Eclectic. I borrow truth from the Seventh-day Adventists, from the Mormons, from the Methodists, of course, that's my tradition, from the Nazarenes, from the Baptists, who taught me at age 3 that God is love, and let us love one another. I have not changed from that. Those are two constants that still stand with me. I've learned, believe it or not, some things from atheists. You know, even a person who does not believe in God might have some truth. And so wherever truth is, Church of God, unity, truth is found in the business world, of which I've discovered in our world-famous barbecue, Colonel Poole's Georgia Barbecue, in LJ, Georgia. In education, I've discovered God and truth, constants in other sciences, the natural sciences. I have a liberal arts degree. It's called BA, Bachelor of Arts. Liberal arts. Am I a liberal? Yes, I am. If you understand what the word liberal means, it means free, liberty. I love to quote that verse. If Christ has made you free, you're free indeed. And that's where I get my freedom. I have it's bubbling inside me, a presence inside me, an anointing inside me, God inside me. Yes, I'm free, and becoming more free. And I wonder where in the world you would peg me theologically. Am I a fundamentalist? A fundamentalist? No. Am I a liberal? Well, in some ways. I believe that God's a wide God, and God is an inclusive God. Can a person be both a liberal and a conservative at the same time? Well, yes, sir, yes. You are right now listening to him. I'm liberal in some ideas because I'm freed, as I said. I'm free to think and free to be as I want to be because Christ has set me free. Am I conservative? You better believe I am. I believe you better live beneath your means. Don't borrow. Don't borrow interest to pay interest. Live beneath. And that's where I'm coming from. I am a fiscal, F-I-S-C-A-L, fiscal, and a physical conservative. Well, there's been a paradigm shift, talking about discussing change, and right now, it's on right now. And there is a whole new wave of the Spirit. What Spirit? The Spirit of God. The same Spirit in the book of Acts. The same Spirit which was in Moses. The I Am Spirit. The Elohim. There's a revival on. Am I a pessimist? No. Was I once? Yes, I was. But now, I am an optimist. The best is yet to come. Do we have problems? Yes, we do. We have some immense problems that we're not right now solving. And the race and immigration and the oil crisis and on it goes. Economy. But are we going to solve them? Yes, because God is raising up a whole new generation. A whole new generation of thinkers who will invent, who have ideas, who will invent more inventions, and who will address. I see them coming. I know many of them personally. Yes, I've come from the camp meeting days. Oh, how I respect and love and cherish the memories of a Swanee River camp meeting, and now I'm enjoying the Indian Springs camp meeting. I could say a few things to them if they'd let me, and maybe they will in time. I believe that God is being progressively revealed. And that's what's happened to me, and happened to many of others, and perhaps even you. Or maybe you're hearing something on this broadcast that you ought to know more about. I invite you to check us out. We're business folks, and we're into politics a little bit, and I have that preacher in me. In fact, I find myself pontificating or preaching right now because the microphone's in front of me, and that sort of turns me on. I am speaking to a worldwide audience on OscarPoole.com or WCBA.tv. I just thought I'd share with you this morning. I didn't say much about anthropomorphism. I have to slow down to say that word. Putting man things on God. The face of God, and the arm of God, hand of God, and so on. Well, I hope you've enjoyed these remarks, as I have been down here inspired by a group whose theology I don't agree with in many ways. Oh, I agree with some. And I pick out that which I agree with. And I love the fellowship. And you see, I'm an eclectic. Eclectic. E-C-L-E-C-T-I-C. I borrow from. Wherever truth is found, that's where my mind is drawn to receive truth, constants, those things which change not. This has been a WCBA.tv. What the mind can conceive, the heart believe, you can achieve. Colonel Oscar Poole speaking, right here in Jackson, Georgia. This has been a WCBA.tv production.